Hey there, friends. Round 2 of 3 today as we preview the Liberty football season. Rhett McGibbon here alongside Matt Warner and Alan Yorkin. Guys, I think it's probably fair to say that if there was a weak link on this Liberty football team last year, it was the defensive side of the ball. What area, though, exactly needs to be improved the most?
Well, I think as you look at that, it was stopping the run. Liberty gave up 5.5 yards per carry last season. That's more than any year in the past decade. The year before, they also gave up more than 5 yards per carry. So that is a big issue they need to sort out. By the way, that number, 5.5, that would have ranked 123rd in the FBS this past season. So even in a pass-happy time in football right now where everybody's spreading it out and throwing it around the yard, they'll still take advantage of you on the ground when you're giving up that much. They have to figure that out this year.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie, fellas, but I'm going to go to the depth as well. You need depth to compete with this 12-game FBS schedule. The other teams, as you mentioned, we were talking last week, Matt, about the offenses and how much they want to go.
Yeah.
Your front line, top 11 guys, need some help.
Yeah.
And there's going to be unsung hero this year. Who will it be? Time will tell.
Yeah, the Flames have added some depth this year and a lot of new faces that we have to get to know. With more on that, we send it over to Bobby Bullock.
Yeah, Rhett, we are hanging out with the defense this week, a big area that Flames need to see improvement on if they want to be successful this season. But there also is a lot of excitement as well. They added a bunch of new players that they are hoping will bring them to the next level.
People don't really understand the difference between FBS and FCS till you actually see all those talented guys bumped up on top of each other. We've had, a 1 deep or maybe a 2 deep over the years. Now we're about 4 deep.
And just adding depth more than anything. I think that's kind of was our head football coach, along with our coordinators' goals.
And it's just heating up the competition level, and it's helping the upperclassmen compete, everybody across the board. And it's just, the practice has been very competitive, and it's been great.
We look at these new faces. Whenever you get new toys into the shop, it's always exciting times. Who has you stoked?
Well, for me, it's a couple of guys. Solomon Ajayi, first of all, are we any of us sure anyone has ever said his last name correctly? Because I've heard media members talk about his brother, Jay, the running back at the NFL level, just won a ring with the Eagles, and they pronounce it all kinds of ways. But he's going to be exciting. At the linebacker position, big kid, moves well, 6'1", 230. JUCO kid, but redshirted with Liberty last year, so he's been in Robert Wimberly's system, so that should give him a leg up on some of the other new guys. And then one other guy quickly, Devin Pearson, another JUCO guy, D lineman. He's listed at 5'11", 315. Right now, today, I'm calling him the round mound of shutdown because he needs to be one of the guys that helps shut down the opposing run game. He can be a run stuffer, we hope, in the middle.
Yeah, I was at practice a couple of days ago. He definitely has a battery that does not wear off.
Yeah.
So he's all energy all the time. I'm going to go to the linebacking core. A couple of guys to look at right now. We're going to start with the Remington Green.
Yeah.
True sophomore, got some playing time as a true freshman, which, again, all kids want to come in nowadays and play right away. He bought into the system, and he's going to be a guy at the linebacking core that you lose last year, Solomon McGinty. You lose Jalen McKinney, both the graduation, and already a week in, Lucas Irons is out. So he's a guy that we're depending on. Now that becomes the onus on this linebacking core. A little bit thin going into this season, but Coach Bookbinder and that linebacking core, hopefully they can be a big presence this year.
I'm stoked about Jesse Lemonier, and I know everybody's talking about him already, but the fact that he comes in, I think he's going to push veterans on the team to be even better. And Jajuan Wells didn't have a bad year last year, but we've seen him at a higher level, and I think it's going to stoke his fire.
Sure.
I think he is going to be hungry and ready to go, and I think he's going to have just a tremendous season this
Well,
year.
and to that point, if you're talking about returners that you think could really have a great year, Jajuan Wells would be my guy. Why? Because he's got help. Teams could just focus in on him knowing that he was the dominant pass rusher on the team. Now he has help. And why else, Red? Because the cream always rises to the top. That's why. Jajuan Wells is a stud with help this year. I think he has a monster campaign.
Is there any other guys you can see, returners that, as you've watched practice here over the past couple of days, that it's looking good coming back? They know that maybe their job could have been in jeopardy. They had to have a big summer in order to get ready.
Yeah, one person that kind of stuck out to me, Elijah Benton.
Yeah.
He's been a terror on the special teams for going on 2 years. And now he's been elevated to some playing time at the back end of that secondary. Elijah Benton is a guy that I'm going to look towards for some leadership. And Jeremy Peters, he's been around a long time. We know, number 2, what he can do, but that senior leadership in that back end is always important.
Yeah.
All right, we spoke about a couple faces now. Let's narrow down to a position a little bit here. And I know this might be tough because you need everybody acting as one unit. But if there was one single position that needs to improve the most, be the number one guy here, who would it be?
For me, it's the defensive tackle. It's kind of going back to what I talked about stopping the run. Robert Wimberly said something interesting at their media day to start the season. He said the turning point for their defense was the Jacksonville State game when Ralph Rusens went down with an injury. Most people wouldn't think, well, what was the big turning point? That wouldn't be what would come to mind, but he said that was the key. So the depth that you talked about and the talent they brought in, the defensive tackles, it all starts there. And if you can stop the run, at least slow it down more than they have in the past, then I think this defense can be worlds better.
If the D tackles can get a push, maybe the ends can come out, get some space. You mentioned Jajuan Wells.
Luminaire,
Austin Lewis is a new guy coming on there really high on. And again, I'm going to go back to linebacking core, not to piggyback on what you talked about, Matt, but that linebacking core, middle part of the defense that can really set if the D-line happens to get pushed back a little bit, can they be active and get that spur down from the safety spot and just wreak havoc on the edge to kind of push back what the D-line may not be able to do, but I look for them to improve.
And on that as well, if those linemen are really able to take up some space, those defensive linemen, then that allows those linebackers to be free and flow to the football. And we know we have some good athletes there. We may not have seen them on the field just yet, but that can all work together, certainly.
We talked about the schedule last week, some top quality teams coming in here. FBS level, the offenses are going to be that much higher. Which team has the offense that's going to provide this Liberty defense with the most problems?
Well, for me, it's Army. We know Liberty has struggled with triple option attacks in the past. You remember Kennesaw State a year ago went for 500 yards, 6.5 yards per carry on the ground. Well, Army, they come from that same Paul Johnson tree. Jeff Monken is their head coach. They were the second leading team rushing the football in the nation last year, had a great year. They run kind of a flex bone offense, a lot of triple option stuff. So we've struggled with it. Liberty has in the past. They've got to get some things figured out, or it could be a long day against Army and the Black Knights.
And it could be one of those things, too, that, okay, we're in fall camp. Yeah, you play ODU in week 1, but they're probably looking towards not overlooking Old Dominion, but they always put packages in August for those teams early in the season that might be able to give them fits, and Army certainly would be one of those. How can you not look past Auburn as well with their...
The Gus bus. You're riding the Gus bus.
Jared Stidham's coming back for his junior year. Second in history in a single season passing a year ago. So he's got all his weapons back. So Auburn, an easy pick. I know it's a layup for me, but Auburn's definitely going to give him a fight.
I think my choice is kind of going under the radar here a little bit. That's North Texas, the Mean Green.
You've been all in on the Mean Green.
I have a hulk of an offense really here. Last year, 60 touchdowns. They actually had the highest rating scoring offense of any team that were playing this season when it came to their 2017 offense. And 160 of those yards on the ground. I know they like to spread it out, but they can get it down and dirty on the ground as well. So they're going to be, I think, a tough task for Liberty. All right, special teams, always just an important part of any football game. Is there a position you're looking at, a player that you've seen that needs to be key this season?
Well, for me, I'll say punters are people too, Rhett. You hear that thrown around, and it's true. You know, you kind of take for granted the career that Trey Turner had here for Liberty. So consistent, year in, year out, started all 4 years at the punter position. He only had 2 punts blocked in 4 years of being an all-conference punter for the Flames. He's gone now. Aiden Alves comes in, redshirt freshman. What do you expect from him? Listen, nobody needs a punter to be spectacular. You can win without an All-American punter, but you need consistency, and you need them not to make mistakes that can cost you and be big momentum plays for the other side. So I'm looking to him to kind of solidify things and continue that consistent play.
Early results in on Aiden Alves, he's really good. There were a lot of hang time. He says he still texts with Trey Turner to get some tips and some motivation and said, hey, maybe Trey will come back and watch me punt one day. Who knows? So he's excited about that. The return game is, everybody gets excited about that. You know, we have a great list of guys back there. Frankie Hicks in the top of it, 2-time All-Big South return specialist. Can Coach Downing get those guys blocked up enough to get some seams? And it starts with a kickoff. Let's see Frankie get down there and get the stadium kind of electric as the season goes on. So the return game I'm watching.
Well, great stuff, guys. Make sure you come back next week. Our third and final segment. It's going to be the offense, the strength of the Flames.